Good morning, everyone. My name is Brian McKenzie. I am the Damage Prevention Manager for Julian Central, Illinois. With me today is Paula Browning. We are going to be talking about positive response for you today. This is a Q&R session. Somebody have a question there? Guys, what we're going to be doing today is we're kind of be touching on this presentation a little bit for those that may have never seen it. This is very laid back. We want you to be able to ask the questions that you have, get these situations ironed out that you may be questioning, so we can get everybody on this page, because you're going to find excitement in my voice about this positive response system, because again, this is something that has been requested for years, and something that we hear in the field quite often is that if we'd only known it wasn't marked, we would have never sent a crew out there. So now you're going to have the ability on both sides to have that option to see when things are marked, because again, as I had mentioned, guys, this is how the member companies are going to be communicating through you through the positive response system. Right? Again, this became mandatory January 1 of 26, everyone. So this is how utility members are going to be speaking through to the excavators about this locate request. They're going to be talking through a series of codes, ladies and gentlemen. These codes are available on our website. You can print them out. There's about 20 some of them, not all of them fit each different scenario. So Paul and we're going to go over some of those again today. If you're new and if you don't know what we're talking about, we actually have a positive response training for excavators, and we have one for members. Today, this is going to be a mixed bag of tricks. We like to talk to, we talk to the members, because the excavators, you guys have a very easy part in this positive response system. Yours is simply to check it before you excavate every single time. That is all you have to do. Members on the call today, you are actually going to be responding with the appropriate and accurate codes through the positive response system. So excavators in the room, your only requirement is to check it before you excavate. And members, yours is to get your responses in by that due date, dig start date and time. So failure to use this, guys, for the member side could result in penalties, right? It was mandatory January 1 to use this system. The nice thing about this, ladies and gentlemen, for the excavators in the room, you do have the opportunity to dig early. You do. If all of the utility companies respond to you with a 10 or a 20, which is a marked or a cleared, your new dig state dart. Gosh, wow, I cannot talk today, Paula.
It's the snow.
It's the snow. It's so cold here. It's the dig start date and time. You want to have that responded to before then, ladies and gentlemen. So with that, again, this was mandatory January 1 of 26. So if you are a excavator in the room, like I told you, your guys, it's very, very simple, because you are just checking a ticket response. And by the way, all transmitted tickets, all email tickets will also include the link that we are about to show you to go in and check that positive response system. Because again, if you are an excavator, your only requirement is to check it before the dig start date and time. So what we're going to do is go check ticket response. Again, it could be emailed to you. It'll be on your email link, or you could go right to our website. Here's what you're going to do, guys. You're going to enter your dig number in on the top, and it's going to pop in with the ticket details. There's our ticket number. There's our street, our cross street, and there is our locate by right here. This particular May 15th, 1920, May 15th of 2025 is when this ticket should have been located. So our next tab under is the pending responses. These are pending responses. We've got something, we're waiting from AT&T, we're waiting from ComEd, Shanahan Village, Comcast, Nicor, and Vero Fiber in this particular case. Now you'll see we do have some responses from the village. They've given us a 10 for street lighting. They've given us a 20, which they have located for sanitary sewer. They gave us a 20 right here, again, for the water. They've given us a code 30 for the storm sewer. So now if you had these codes in front of you, you'd be thinking, well, what do those numbers mean? As an excavator, the 10s and 20s are your friends. That's marked or cleared. If you receive all 10s or 20s, like we see down here in these responses right here, 10s or 20s, if every single company had responded with a 10 or a 20, we could legally dig at that time. But we're still waiting for some pending responses. And I want to point out, guys, that this was a 2025 ticket, so this was still test mode back last year, but it is a great example of what you could potentially see if you are an excavator. Now, notice we said that our ticket was due at 5/19. So we still have some responses that are yet due on 5/19. So in this particular case, ladies and gentlemen, before you ever sent the crew out to do this job, you are basically AT&T, ComEd, Shanahan, Comcast, Nicor, and Vero are all no-shows at this point. So you could actually call them in as a no-show because they have not responded by the dig start date and time to the positive response system. Paula, is there anything that you'd like to add to this?
Yeah, so I would like to interject something right here. We talked about Shanahan being potentially being a no-show, but you want to make sure that you're also looking at the response codes because Shanahan for the storm sewer, they're still in the pending section because they have not submitted a final code yet. And if you look down in the response section, that's because they put a code 30. Make sure you look at the comment section. When they put in a code 30, they're going to be required to tell you why it's a code 30. Code 30 means that there's, for some reason, they have not marked that facility for you. In this case, they're saying it's a locked gate. There's no access. So you, as the excavator, would be required to call back into the call center once you've made sure that the property is accessible. Call back into the call center, let them know, hey, Village of Shanahan said that they couldn't access the property. Gates unlocked now. Could you please resubmit that? So they would be able to continue with responding to the ticket because eventually that storm sewer is actually going to turn into a code 20, meaning that they marked it or cleared it. I'm assuming it's going to be a 20 because they said they couldn't get to that backyard to check that area. So that's one thing you want to make sure. There are going to be, for you as the excavator, there are going to be some codes that our members will submit to you that require additional steps. So that would be like a code 50, a 51. This code 30 may require you to do additional steps. So make sure you're watching your email that are going to include some of those responses. Okay, Brian, go
Okay,
ahead.
great. At this time, we've already got some questions starting to flow into the Q&A, folks. And as Paul and I are talking, go ahead and start to line those in there, and we'll start to address these one by one. So what we ask you is go ahead and put your questions in your Q&A as we go through this, and then when we're ready to jump into that section, we'll have them there. All right, thank you, Paula. So again, guys, that's just the excavator side. Again, you're just reading it. You're reading what the codes are given to you by the utility companies out there. So now let's go back to, again, now we're going to post a positive response. Now we're actually the worthy member. Now we're going to post a response for the excavator. So this is also, again, available at the footer of our website, or it's going to be emailed out with tickets also. But again, you notice how this screen looks just a little bit different because, again, the members are actually responding for each utility facility that they have. In this particular case, Shanahan, am I saying that right?
Mm-hmm.
Shanahan has 4 utilities. We have street light, sanitary sewer, storm sewer, and water. So remember back to our previous example where they actually clicked a code 30. Guys, there's a plethora of reasons why you could get a code 30. The gate could be locked. A dog could be in the yard. Maybe it's underwater. Whatever it is, they're going to communicate that with you in the comment section. So you're actually going to be able to see exactly what the issue was before things start to get out of hand out there. So remember, if you're an excavator, 10s and 20s are your friend because those are marked or cleared. Now you'll see, based on that code sheet that I showed you, there's a lot of codes on here, right? But in this particular one, we only have 7 codes that are available for this particular instance of this dig area. First one being 10, conflict, no clear. Second one being marked. Third is that unable to dig, what we talked about. Then we've got a code 50, which is a locator and excavator agreed to a document time. We've got a code 52, locate not complete, no agreement reached. We have a code 60, which is watch and protect. And then we have a code 90, which was excavation completed to dig start date and time. Again, that is the only options that were available for this particular ticket at this time. If it were a joint meet ticket, there'd be other options there. If it was a design stage, other options, etc. You'll see. But again, there was only the 7 that were available for this particular instance. Anything to add to that one, Paula?
No, I think that's good. Yeah, yeah, you got everything covered there.
Okay. Now, you kind of see here as we talk attachments, this is another beautiful thing about this, guys. There could be communication from both sides on attachments. You could upload an attachment as an excavator if you're using remote ticket entry. Instead of going out and pre-marking that area with white paint stakes or flags, you could include a very good map that shows distance and direction. And you could upload that to the system. They would be able to view it the same way that when the locators respond to you or the members respond to you, they could actually send attached photographs of the area being marked. I've seen several of those, and it
Mhm.
looks really good when you do include those for the excavator. So that is a great thing to do pushing forward. But again, that is available on our website to post the positive response. So right now, guys, members in the room, not in excavators, but members, you should be using this system. Excavators, you should be using it as well, but members should already be responding through the positive response system. Members, you should already have a login or API access. If you're going to have a third party do these responses for you, that is the API access. You should have already be understanding these codes, ladies and gentlemen. We've been staring at them for 9 to 10 months, and well, there's quite a few of them, but make sure you had that printed out. Another huge pro tip, guys, is have a developed internal process, whether you're an excavator or whether you're a member, because members do both, right? You wear both hats. You're an excavator as well as you're a member that you're putting in responses. So both of sides needs to have an internal process about how you're going to handle these emails that are coming in. Who's going to share that information down? So again, for anybody that is on the call today and you do not have a username and password, that is the email to reach out to us, memberinfo@julieonecall.com to get your username and passwords. All right, Paula, should we jump in or you want to add anything before we jump into the questions?
Yeah, so just kind of to clarify what you just mentioned there too. So as an excavator in the field, you do not need a login. You just need to be able to go to the display page, which is in the upper right-hand corner of our website. It says to view a response. You click that, you have to have your ticket number. Type that in there. It's going to be able to tell you what Brian just talked about, the pending posts, and the responses. Now, you as a member are required to have a login. So you can go to memberinfo@julieonecall.com and get that taken care of through them. But honestly, the easiest way is to go to our website, and there's a positive response section there. If you click on the little icon, I guess, for the positive response, and then on the right hand side, about halfway down the page, it's Brian talked about the API access. If you have a third party, you do need an NDA, a non-disclosure agreement on file with Julie. So you would need to do that. And once we get to that and we get you your login credentials, you share those login credentials with your third party so that they can start posting on your behalf. Now, if you need a manual login, that's also there. You can fill out your form there. That gets sent to member info at julieonecall.com, and probably turnarounds a couple days at this point. We'll get that taken care of. Now, if you have already submitted your request and you've not gotten your login from us yet, and you're not the coordinator, make sure you check with your coordinator because we would need approval from them before we can actually issue the login. So if you've not gotten it and you've submitted it to us, check with your coordinator first to see if they've gotten an email. If they haven't, then go ahead and email memberinfo@julieonecall.com. We can kind of take a look at it and see what happened. Did we receive the request? Make sure it's the transaction's been completed for you. So I just wanted to mention those couple things.
Great. Thank you. Got some wonderful questions in here in the Q&A, folks. So we can start to address those again. As I mentioned earlier, if you got a question out there and you want to get answered today, please throw it in this Q&A. If you don't want to type and you want to answer the question or ask the question, we can unmute you if you like. Again, we want this to be an informational session and we just don't want to be up here gabbing at you. So let's just take the first one right off the bat, Paula. And I will answer these. Village of Skokie participant here. We would like clarification regarding code 50, especially liability if the excavator does not respond as agreed upon. Kind of need some more information here, I guess, on this one, because you had reached out to the excavator and asked for more time. I guess that's what we kind of need to see here. You want to
Yeah,
go ahead
so
and,
code 50, that means that you as the member have already had a conversation with the excavator and you guys agreed upon a new start date and time. So you're right. The excavator does need to respond to that email saying, yes, I accept, or no, I deny. And if they deny it, now you have to mark by the original date and time on the ticket. As of now, I mean, that may change eventually, but that's ultimately what that means. So if we need more information, like Brian said, that's we can kind of clarify that a little bit more.
Yeah, we'll jump into that one, guys. But keep in mind that this positive response system, attachments, comments, everything gets attached to the tickets and it stays there for 5 years. So essentially, guys, this is the playbook, for the tickets. Faye, are you able to speak now? I don't think she has a microphone. But while she's figuring that out, let's jump into Kevin's question here. Can excavators call in no-shows immediately after ticket clear time and date, or do we have to be on site to verify the markings? That's a great question. The whole wonderful beauty about the positive response system, guys, is that you are able to check the responses before you ever roll a crew out to that job site. So as I mentioned too earlier, guys, if it's past your dig start date and time and it's all 999s, which is late final response, you may call in to the call center and request a no-show. I apologize that the locator went out and painted the system or painted the job site and didn't respond to the positive response system, because it should be an easy fix, because by the time you call in the no-show, you're going to say, I forgot to enter that into the positive response system. So no, that is designed to save you guys time and energy to check the positive response before you go out there. Okay, Paula, you want to add to that one?
No, I think that's okay.
Okay. Okay, now let's go to the next one from Nate. Can we still apply for Julie ticket using julieonecall.com, or are different tickets being called in differently? I'll let you handle that one, Paula, because we got all kinds of ways he can get tickets in.
So can you apply for the Julie tickets using, so it looks like you're talking about remote ticket entry. So remote ticket entry is to request a locate request. So you've gone through the training, you get a login, that's where you're going to process your locate request. If you get an email copy, we're talking about positive response. You get an email copy of your ticket. One of the last questions that you have says, "Would you like a copy of the ticket?" If you say yes, you're going to get that electronic copy. Now, Brian already mentioned that earlier, so you'll get that electronic copy of the ticket. The very, very bottom of the ticket, you're going to see a link. It's a bit deceiving because I think it says view map. But if you click that, it will show you the map, but it's also a link to the positive response display page just for that particular ticket. So that's one way you can look at it. There's also, if you go to the website, upper right-hand corner, you can view a response that way. There's also, if you were to go into Message Center Plus, that is another way that'll give you a quick reference to the display page. So there's many ways that you can view that. So I hope I answered your question, Nate, but yeah, to generate a locate request, you can still do that through remote ticket entry. You get that copy, that very bottom hyperlink will get you to the display page.
Great. A couple questions here about the locked gate. And I think I can answer this, but I think it's Terry. We're an excavator for Osmos, so if the utility can get in the backyard, dog lock gate, shouldn't the utility call us? In 2025, yes, they would have called you. In 2026, now they're responding through the positive response system. So again, guys, all excavators, whether you're a member, whether you're a normal excavator, just a regular excavator, you have to check the positive response system prior to excavating. If you do not, and you go out there, and that's how we're going to find out, because I hear this question a lot. Well, how are you going to know I didn't check it if I'm an excavator? Well, one, they're going to get a code 30. You're not going to know. There's not going to be marks out there. You'll get a code 60, which is the watch to protect for potentially high pressure gas main, whatever type of utility they want to do a watch. You're not going to get those notifications. You're not going to get the request for extra time, and you're not going to get the request, or you're not going to get the information of the 10s and 20s that you could dig early. So you really want to be checking this positive response system often. early and often. But again, as we go back to when the emails start to come in, you start to get this email having your processes internally about what you're going to do.
So could I interject something right there too? So you mentioned email. So if they submit a code 30, that is going to generate an email to you as the excavator so that you, yes, you still need to check the positive response system, but you also need to be checking your email because potentially that code 30, they could have within 12 hours of when you submitted the ticket, gone to the site, noticed the gate's locked, they can't get back there, they may have generated a code 30 to you. So you're going to get the email plus in the positive response system, it's also going to be a code 30 in there. So you'll have a couple of different options. And if it's a code 30 with the gate locked gate, then yes, you will need to call back into the call center and say, hey, gate's open, and that company will get another 2 days to mark.
And then this also goes back to the anonymous attendee there. I kind of want to answer that question to go back in because their question was kind of along the same, but then they went on to say, what happens at that point? Does the excavator have to call back in, meaning the dig start date and time would be changed? No, the dig start time won't be changed. If the gate is locked and you're going to be working back there, I mean, they got to have access to that. It's a big no-no to hop fences. I mean, they're not going to be jumping fences or things, so they got to have access to that. So the code 30 is for you, the excavator, to try to get that situation squared away for them. If you feel that gate isn't locked, I mean, if you think they're just trying to blow the ticket off or whatever, then you would have to call in an incomplete or no show. But again, all of those come in with the comments that they have to give you the comment. It goes back to you, the excavator. Anything else? I mean, to add to that, Paul, I really don't know
Mhm.
what else to say to that. Guys, this is the phone calls in 2025 are being replaced with the positive response system. We're mandating almost that the comments be put into you, the excavator, so you know what's going on. So this is why the positive response system was invented, to be able to open communication lines between both of you.
Mhm.
John, at this time we are unable to print out any of the reports from the positive response. Unless there's something I'm not aware of, Paula, but I don't think
Mhm.
at this time, not with this build anyway.
Yeah, not yet. We're working on something.
And just so you all know, and I hate to say this, but probably in a couple of years we are going to be looking at, redoing some of the software and things. But give us a break to give us a little bit to catch up here because we've had a lot the last couple of years. It shows my dig. I have a request to extend. Okay, what is it? If I have an excavator and there are utility companies that are no shows for my dig ticket, do I have to request to extend the dig ticket or just wait for the utility? Great question. So your ticket's valid. You guys started at that dig start date and time. You're ready to excavate. They're all 9/9s. You call back into the call center. You request a no-show for those individuals who have not responded. That goes out as a 2-hour notice. They have 2 hours to respond to you through that positive response system to get that ticket marked. I hope that answers your question. So you're just waiting the 2 hours because it's a no-show. Another thing to point out, ladies and gentlemen, that emergencies have not changed either. They're still the same. They're still the 2-hour response time.
Mhm.
The only caveat being for municipalities, you have an extra hour to get back and close that through the positive response system. Why is that? Because municipalities may have to go back to the office to close the ticket, whereas the contract locators and other locators, they have a computer in their vehicle. They should be able to close that immediately. Paula, you want to do the attachments page, or we want to do that one at the end? We can show people how to.
So Nate, I'm assuming you're talking about as a member to be able to attach stuff. So Brian, actually, if you go back a couple of slides,
Okay.
um, it'll show you on the and let's see, go back one more. Yeah, so it's just oh, go back one more.
So that's the
That's the
that's the
excavator.
excavator. Yeah.
Yeah, we need to go, yeah,
It
back
doesn't
forward.
show it here on this one, guy. We'd have to, Paula, you'd have to do it live. This one doesn't show it, I don't think.
Yeah, well, if you go to the excavator, or I'm sorry, to the member one, under where you have the drop down box for the codes to choose, because if you're a member and you want to attach maps like Brian talked about where you've actually put your marks, you can kind of see under the drop down box, you can see the word attachment. Um, it's going to not the arrow, Brian, to the left up
Oh,
toward
yeah,
there
I'm
you
sorry.
go up there, so right above the
Can't read.
respond button. So if you have an attachment that you want to include with about your marks, that's where that would be. You would click attach there, and same thing with the remote ticket entry. It opens up the little window, and then you choose files, and then you can attach. Now you can attach for facility type per facility type. You can attach 20 documents up to 40 megabytes, or 40, I think it's 40 or 42 megabytes in size per attachment per facility type. So you can attach a lot of documents there. Um, but that's where you would do it for the member side of it. I'm assuming that's what you were talking about, Nate.
Great question from Terry. Who's going to tell the crews that they need to look up positive response? It's called Welcome to being an excavator in Illinois. That's the law. It's a requirement that they know the law. Yes, they do know this. We've been working on this for about 9 months, guys, and they respond to you guys. It has to be an appropriate and accurate code, guys, just as the law states. So these code 30s and things that please don't think they're going to be out there throwing you a code 30 because number one, they have to put comments in there. But number two, if we get wind of it that it's being abused, there's going to be there. You can still reach out to the Commerce Commission, guys. There's still forms of combating this. It's just trying to get everything in the particular order. Are there going to be mishaps? Absolutely. I mean, this is a human thing here, but again, it has to be appropriate and accurate codes. If you're having a problem in the field, you can always reach out to me, guys. I am the liaison for both sides. I help both sides in this. But you're 100% right. The crews have to know to check this positive response system. Great question. All right, we've got another code 50 question there. Code 50s were used and the excavator did not respond on their end, so the village received 999s. Okay. Oh, this is Faye. I did not understand, so I communicated with the excavator, and their response was that they received hundreds of emails a day and they could not be expected. Yeah. Not your fault, Faye. So how do we answer this one, Paula? Um,
So code 50 means that you actually had a conversation with, or
yeah.
the member had a conversation with the excavator, because they have to put who they spoke to, the time and date that they spoke to them, the phone number that was contacted, the new date and time that was agreed upon. So that conversation needed to take place. And as a member, that member should have conveyed to that excavator saying, hey, you're going to be getting an email generated to you. Make sure you click accept, because then once they click accept, now it's going to change the start date and time in the positive response system. It's not going to change it on the ticket, but it'll change it in the positive response system because you guys already had an agreement. But you are correct. If the excavator does not respond by the due date on the ticket, it's going to default to denied, which means then the member has to respond by the due date, the original due date on the ticket, not what the agreed upon is. That is correct. So as a member, I would be telling the excavator, make sure you're watching the email, check agree so that I can get that additional time.
Yeah. Next one. Certain utilities have a problem getting to paint or flag to locate. Our crews have to go out to locate site 1 to 2 times. Okay. Positive response system should take care of that because again, if you're checking the positive response by your dig start date and time, if it's a 999, you can call them in as an incomplete right from there. If it happens 1, 2, or 3 times, on the third time, you can say excavation will begin. And at that point, you can hand dig or vacuum excavate an area where facilities are likely present. That doesn't mean you can rip and tear. But again, if you're having a problem and you say certain utilities, if you're having a problem with those certain utilities, then I would suggest that you reach out to us so we can um, make sure that they are on the positive response system, and B, that they know their requirements by law. Okay. Do you have the emails or the ad, to make a rule in my Outlook where it'd be nice to set? I don't know that one. That's going to be a internal issue there. It's not a.
So, hang on, I'll have that answer for you here in a second because I believe it is from OCARS Pro And I think it's illinoisoneCall.com, but let me confirm that while you can go on to the next question. I'll take a
Okay.
look at that real quick.
Can everyone see attached maps? We get a lot of phone calls asking for the maps. Okay, great question, Kevin. Another one. That's not your response or responsibility, Kevin. If you've uploaded those maps, we do give everybody that is associated with that ticket rights to see that. If they can't see anything on their end, that's another one that we have I want to say we have a workaround around that, Paula. It has to do with the way that the emails are coming into them.
To
This
the
is the one with
member.
no attachments to the members. Or no, this is
Yeah.
we'll get to that one next too. We have another workaround on that one, Kevin. For no shows, if they do not no show or two where the locators be billed for lost time, great question. We are not a state that pays downtime at this point. That is a question for the Illinois Commerce Commission, who is the enforcing body of the Julie law. We do not issue warnings, letters, or fines or anything. That is the Illinois Commerce Commission on their side. But to answer your question, can they get in trouble for that? Yes, there can be fines. Yeah, I don't know, Terry. I don't know what to tell you on that, and that's internal. Um, Positive response system is designed to help you, but you will have to figure out emails on your end. You have any idea for that, Paula?
For what? I'm sorry, I missed the question.
Yeah, I don't even know if it's. I'm just going to skip on to the next one. As an excavator, I attach plans to my remote ticket entry, and many locators told me they can. Oh, another one with the attachments issue. So we have that issue. I think we can get about 3 or 4 questions with this one.
Okay, so with the attachments, attachments are if you as a remote ticket entry user, if you've attached that map or image or whatever to your ticket, it is there. Um, like Brian said, there is a workaround. So if they get their delivered ticket via email, same hyperlink, the one that you have at the very bottom where I talked about where it says view map, they also have that same link. So if they were to click that, it opens up to the map image there, any attachments, all of that is going to be made available to them there. Some companies, it's how their systems are set up internally, but they're working through those issues right now. I know USIC was having an issue, but they kind of did an upgrade with their system, so I think that has been resolved on their end. But if they ever run into an issue, if you as a remote ticket entry user get that electronic copy of your ticket, email it to them to the member and say, here you go, here's a copy if you want. They can click on it and it'll take them to that map image that you attached.
Great questions, guys. Oops. Continuing on. So again, I just want to clarify that that is not your problem that they cannot see those attachments, guys. It's something on their end, and when you upload that, um, I don't know. I don't know what to say anymore about that particular case there,
So
but
I'm going to back up to the email question. So Cheryl had the question about the emails. What's the domain basically? And I wanted to confirm. So it comes from julieonecall.com. That's where the email comes from. The whole web address should be ocars_pro at julieonecall.com. So that's the address that they should be coming from. But for sure the domain is julieonecall.com.
all right. Do we have any more other questions out there that we need to get answered, Paula?
So I do want to mention kind of a frequent phone call question that we get quite often is people have a tendency to, as a member, to log into the system. Kind of have some issues with getting logged in correctly. So couple of tips for us. So if you guys are remote ticket entry users, our developer actually kind of as a convenient thing saves your accounts and passwords across multiple programs. So if you're a remote ticket entry user and you are also a member, so you need to log into the member portal to post your responses, you may find that you're getting a 404 error. So it's telling you, hey, you don't have authorization to do that. What we're suggesting that you try is make sure you are completely logged out of remote ticket entry first. Hit the log out button, completely log out of that, and it should be able to log you into the positive response system. Now, if that still doesn't work, um, try, depending on the browser that you're using, try an incognito window or a private window. I think Chrome considers it incognito, and Edge considers it private. But if you right click on the icon, it'll show you incognito window or private window. You can open that up. It's not going to store anything. Because what we kind of see is that, like I said, it's a convenience thing. It saves your passwords across all of the Newton products. But if you do one of the incognito windows, it doesn't pay attention to those logins. So you can kind of try that if you are struggling with getting in there. May need to clear your browsing cache too. Sometimes it stores those. And from what I've also heard too, and it possibly it could be a plugin issue. So that might be on your end that an adjustment needs to be made on your end. But I would always try the incognito or private window first, making sure you're logged out of everything else. You should be able to log into the programs there. So, but if you do have trouble, you can always go to memberinfo@juliewonecall.com. They can kind of help troubleshoot that for you as well. But that's some of the suggested things that to try first.
I understand about this code 50 that, people are asking the questions about why can't it be auto accepted and things, but I don't have the answer on liability, guys. I don't know. That's something we'll have to get back to you on. I don't know that answer to that one. All right. So some of the other questions about design stage, guys, is who they're going to be responding to the design stage process. They can respond to email you the plans or the maps. They can also attach them to the positive response system. So again, if you're doing, I hope everybody understands, we're trying to get everybody to go to the positive response system for communication. This is communication for, again, to both sides, from the excavator to the locator or municipality about that particular locate. Instead of all the phone calls from this guy, email from that guy, we're trying to get it all into one spot for you to make it easier for everybody. Paula, any other questions you want to try to, we went over 999. Code 60, ladies and gentlemen, is a watch protect. If you were to get a code 60, that means there is a utility facility they want to stand by on. It could be a large gas main. Perhaps it could be a transite water main out there that they need to be locating something that they have asked to be on site with you. Watch and protects are not designed to hang you up. If they call and reach out to you to watch protect and your ticket is valid tomorrow and you're ready to excavate tomorrow, they need to honor your dig start date and time. It is not something that will be designed to hang you up. It's designed to protect you.
I did get a question the other day too, which actually was a very good one. So I had an excavator reach out to me saying that they received a code 90 stating that the work was already complete, but they hadn't even been out to the job site yet. So that would have been an invalid code, really, because their time it wasn't even up yet for the marks to be done. And she says, "What do I do? How do I handle that?" So if you get a code 90 saying that the excavation was completed and you haven't even been to the site yet, and it is even before the 2 days, you can actually call back into the call center and have a conversation with the operator at that point and explain to them, I got this code 90. I haven't even been to the job site yet. Markings aren't even due yet. And they can send it out for now. Well, I shouldn't say for now. They would send it out for the time that the ticket is due on the ticket. Say if it's due by midnight tonight, they would send it out for midnight tonight with that note explaining the work hasn't started yet and that that was an invalid code and please respond accordingly.
Great question there all the way at the end from Anonymous again. So just to verify, the locator puts requires a response. The excavator has to call into the utility to respond. We cannot communicate back to the positive response system with the member. That's correct.
Well, it depends on the code too.
Unless
So
it's a
if you,
50 or yeah.
yeah, a code 30, yes, unless they give you a phone number to call or an email to respond to. A code 30 is one that you would actually have to call back into the call center to respond to. But like we were saying, code 50, it's accept or deny. Code 51 is accept or deny. The watch and protect, they should be providing you with a phone number to reach out to them. Stuff like that.
Yeah, but as far as going in and responding like the members do, you're reading it. You're reading their responses. But yes, the call in back to the call center. 999's call in. You can't talk to them immediately through the system. Any other ones we got on here? But we will get back to on that question about the code 50, liability. Hey, if you could give us your number, we'd love to talk to you after this. Find out for you, see if we can do an update or whatever to make sure. Because I don't want to give you the wrong information. Regarding verbal pre-mark, can we require excavators to physically pre-mark? No. They have to respond in one of the following ways. They can pre-mark with white paint stakes or flags, which is the old tried and true. They can upload maps showing distance and direction. They could verbally describe this, guys, as long as it's clear and concise, right? Entire property, right away to right away is not a pre-mark. So if you can clear and concise it, guys, and that's why we like this attachments but the only way you can upload attachments, guys, is through remote ticket entry. You have to be a remote ticket entry user to upload those attachments. Maps are great. I've seen a lot of very good maps out there that, again, you don't have to go out and do white paint stakes or flags if, guys, you can do it clear and concise with a map. Terry's got an example. So AT&T will call with an automatic calls on Sunday, and you must click a prompt. I am not familiar with AT&T doing that to you, sir. I don't know that one. Because everybody, January 1, all utilities should be responding to you guys through this. If they're sending emails and calls and things other than this, I don't know why they're doing that. I don't have the answer to you on that one. I do know that AT&T does send out emails for high profile utilities sometimes that are in or near the dig area, and that can cause confusion sometimes because they're just telling you that there's a fiber in the particular area. It doesn't mean it's in your dig area. But again, anything that does with this locate should be through this system only, unless it's a design stage, and then they could email you or they could add them through the positive response system.
Mm-hmm.
So hope that answers that question. Yeah. Anonymous will be able to submit your own no-show. You'll have to call it in, but the positive response, you'll see the 999s, which they're late. So you'll be able to call in before you send the crew. Getting some good questions in here, guys. Thank you for that. Can we slow excavators because of lack of resources, i.e. snow removal operations at full force? Well, that goes back to all their code 50s again, guys, where you can ask for extra time. I mean, if we take that locator agreement, that code 50 again, you can accept it or you can deny it, the request for extra time. If you deny the extra time, guys, and they could hit you with that code 52, which is a locate not complete, there's no agreement reached. They've already told you that they're behind and you've declined the call. I mean, they could hit you with that code 52 potentially. So if you're able to give extra time, please do so. If you can't, that's one thing. But if you're able to give extra time, please do so. Anything you want to add to that one, Paula?
No, that's good about the at that point that's what it would be is communication between the member and the excavator to and snow removal would be a valid reason. That would be code 30. Correct me if I'm wrong that it's a code 30 that snows in the area allow additional time or something like that. Ask them to call you or something like that. So I get that.
Yeah. Another anonymous question. Could we slow down? I want to point out to two ladies and gentlemen, this could go another route. Let's say he means by slowing them down that his town happens to be one of those that are getting their crosshairs of fiber work going on in their town. So they're having multiple excavators in the town. They're having multiple large tickets that were put on the system without doing the joint meat process. That's a big no-no too, because we do have a large amount of fiber work going on in Illinois at this time. We have a large amount of out-of-state excavators in our area that don't necessarily know our rules. So a series of 5 guys is what the ICC has ruled anything that should be considered a large project. Now, am I going to hit you for a large project for 5 trees? Probably not. But if it's a project of 5 miles worth of tickets that you put on the system without calling a joint meet, I am 100% going to push back to you and request that you do the joint meet process. And I'm going to skim over this, ladies and gentlemen, because if you, the excavator, refuse to do that and you throw all these tickets on the system, the member utilities can push back to you and it will be a delay in marking because again, now we're talking BRC, now we're talking large projects. We're talking over and above the normal notice type of ticket that is out there. Another definition of a large project, again, guys, would be tickets that cannot be done within those 25 days. So we're actually, so maybe it's an excavation that's going on 4, 5, 6 months down the line. That should have been a large project. It should have had updates, should have had meetings to progress meetings that are knowing what's going on and original joint meets and design stages. There's a whole process to that, which can also contribute to the fact of getting locates not completed on time. And then you couple that with the fact that they've got to go move snow and their other, their other duties as a municipality. I can see that could be an issue. When you extend a ticket, do the members have to respond to those or the previous codes are valid? Great question. And I will ask you, how did you ask? Did you ask for need all companies to remark, or are you just extending the ticket? No need. So if you ask for a ticket extended, need paint and flags, you just ask for extra time. So that'd be 2 days, not including the day of the call. If you called in and said ticket extended, no need to remark, that's just buying you time. That does not buy you paint. So when you asked for paint to be applied, you're also asking extra time, 2.5 days be giving to that remark. I hope that answered your question. Anything you want to add to that one, Paula?
Just you want to make sure that that's truly that the markings are visible because if they're not visible then you should be requesting a remark. The utilities would get another 2 days, but to your point, if that was your question, are the previous or the previous codes are valid? So I would say yes, as long as the marks are still visible. If the marks aren't visible, then you need to make sure that you get fresh marks. And they may be at the time of the extension, maybe a couple days later, you need to do a remark request. You can do that. You can either call into the call center and get some fresh marks, or you can go on our Rev program and request remarks through that.
If you do a remark not needed, guys, it's going to be a code 21, and that's a system generated code because it's going to pick up on the fact that you said no need to remark. So it's going to automatically, put that code in there. Remark not needed. Closing in on our time, I just want to make sure we're getting everybody here. So please, great questions. I'm glad you're getting this in here. So please, we've got a few more minutes left. Get them in here. It says, I get a list of tickets. I get a list of tickets that are late every day, but when I look at the ticket, it shows we submitted on time. Is there something we're doing wrong? Well, we need to see that. If you could give us more
Yeah.
information, reach out to Paula and I. We can go in and look at it with you and see what's going on.
Yeah, the only time that you should get a list of tickets that you haven't responded to is that's called a late summary report. That means that you have not posted a response in the system prior to the due date listed on the ticket. So if you're getting those late tickets, You shouldn't be if you've done it prior to the begin date. So, yeah, I would be interested in seeing that too, just like Brian said. So if you can email me or call me or whatever, and we can talk about it. Vicky, if you wouldn't mind for that question, would you put my email address
I'm
in there?
doing it as we speak.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
And also Faye's too, so we can talk with Faye and get her the right information. How far in advance can excavators call in tickets? Start time does not correspond to respond time. Great question. Um, you can give advance notice up to 10 days. It's just not going to change your dig start date and time. Unfortunately, that's, that's one thing that we hear. If I give extra time, will my dig start date and time move? No, because you're giving extra time to give them extra time. If you want to do now, if we talk design stage joint meets, you can put them up to 6 months in advance, 6 to 7, 8 months in advance. So just kind of depends on the type of tickets that you're wanting
And
to put
joint
in.
meets are 60 days.
60 days for joint meets.
Yeah. So it depends, like Brian's saying, it just depends on the type of ticket that you're submitting. If you're doing a joint meet, you can schedule that out. I think we just did a joint meet training the other day, and I think you could schedule it out as far as April at this point, with excluding weekends, holidays, and the day that the ticket's being entered. So, yeah.
Thank you for that one. Nate's got another good one. If you have a project in an area and you are approaching the end of the ticket period, would it be okay just to get another ticket for the same area or let the original one expire? It's kind of up to you. You can do that 5 times before you have to get a new one, Nate. So, I mean, if it's a large project or large ticket and you know you're going to get down to that end of that time, you could say ticket extended, no need to remark. That would again buy you time. Or you could say ticket extended, need all companies to remark. You're shut down for 2 days, not including the day of the call, unless you're working in an area of that large project that you still see marks. So again, guys, remarks, paint buys you time. I'm sorry, paint buys you paint and time. And then the extension without paint just buys you time.
But the key, I mean, I want to mention this too. The key with that, though, is you need to make sure that the excavation, some portion of the excavation started within those first 10 days of the ticket in order to extend it. So that's the key factor, is you have to wait your 2 days to have it marked. You have to start your excavation by the begin date, and then you have 25 days to complete it. And then if you don't complete it, that's what Brian's saying. You can request an extension with or without marks, and you can do that up to 5 times.
And also something I've been failing to mention about this because I've been so focused on pause response, guys, that when you ask for a remark on these projects, guys, you have to pre-mark your remarks in the area where excavation is likely to continue. All right. And what do I mean by that? It was a 10 block long project. Instead of calling the entire project back in because I'm actually done with blocks 1 through 4, I can call in 4 through 10 as my remark, right? Because I've got to go in and pre-mark 4 through 10 as my area where excavation will continue. That's something that did change in 25 too, guys, is that, again, you're going to pre-mark your remarks. So great question, Nate. Guys, we're just down to a couple here, some that we're waiting to get responses for, one for Faye and one for the, here we go. What is the recourse if pre-marks are not provided for this remark request? How should an operator handle this? As far as I guess, let's find out what are you asking here, Miss Stan? I guess Paula, do you understand that?
When you're referring to the operator, I don't know if you're referring to call center or like in the field
Our
for
operator.
guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know which operator you're referring to.
It gets us confused. I apologize, guys. We get confused so easily. But when you say operator, we're thinking a Julie operator, and you guys are probably
Yeah,
thinking of a operator
in the field. Yeah.
in the field. So if that is the case, just let me know and we can address that. Sorry. Okay, we have 50 poles in one area. Say Bartlett,
500 poles in one area.
500. Yep. What if we have 450 poles dug and the ticket expires? No. if it already expired, you do have to call in a new one, Terry. But if it's getting close to that end, you could ask. That's again where you could do the remark. Ticket extended, need all companies to remark. It's going to buy you another 25 days. You just have to wait the 3 to get the marks. Unless on the other 450 polls, you still have marks and you can work. You just need marks for the 50. You see what I'm saying? So if you need marks for the 50, you could say remark the 50 polls that are left. You could pre-mark that area of the 50 polls that are left. But I'm going to tell you right now, Terry, if you're going to do 500 polls, that's a large project, and you would have already had a joint meet. You already had a design state. You would have already done all this. And if you need help, if you ever do that type of work, Terry, reach out to me, and I will help you with that joint meet process. And believe it or not, the joint meet process, guys, on a project like that is going to be huge. It's going to help everything because when you do a design stage for 500 polls or a joint meet for 500 polls, guys, that is the playbook for all 500 polls. So thank
That's a
you.
majority of Terry's work. That's
Yeah,
what she does with pole
Terry,
replacements.
I'm sorry,
And
Terry.
yeah, yeah, she's
See,
that's
sorry.
what she does.
Sorry, Terry. Sorry, Terry. Operators and Terrys, they get me confused. I don't mean anything by it. It's just, but Terry, in that particular case, I would love to help you out. If you want to do the large project process or, I've never heard of you. I've never met you, so I apologize. Anybody else before? We got about 3 minutes left. I want to make sure
Did
everybody
we
gets
want
these.
to,
Go ahead.
did you want to go back into the question from Kevin Collins about from
Oh, Kevin,
excavator standpoint, right,
I missed
at
it.
8:56?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, we did address that one. Kevin, again, that was not your fault. That was just, again, you're provided the information. If the locators can't see it, that's on their end. And Paula actually had alluded to that that's how it's a receiving end, how, right, Paula, is that they're not getting them right on our end, so it's not showing them. Again, that's not your issue. They could actually reach out to us and we could help them. We would point them in the direction.
Yeah, and another thing you can do, Kevin, too, is if they ask for it, say they don't have the map or whatever, if you get that, I'm not sure if you're a remote ticket entry user or not, but if you do, get that email copy of the ticket and send it to them. There's nothing wrong with that because if they as a member, if they get their tickets emailed to them as a delivery method, that same link is at the bottom of every single ticket that's delivered to them. So where it gets kind of uh, foggy, I guess is the word I want to use, is when they have a ticket management system where they're taking our tickets and putting it to their own software. That's where it kind of gets mucked up a little bit. But they are getting the copy of the ticket. Just on their end, they have to program their stuff so that they can see it. But there is nothing wrong with you saying, here's a copy of my ticket, here's the map attachment. Now they have it all.
Stan, if you take my email also too, we can talk about the code 50 again. There's a whole group that deals with this positive response stuff, guys. And what we do, I'm gonna be honest with you, I take these questions that are really the good ones here, and we're gonna go back to that group and we'll talk them out. That's what these webinars are for, is to see how you all are doing in the field and making sure that, we're providing everything to you that we can. So some of it we can change, guys, some of it we can't.
And in the chat, Brian and Paula, I have put the link to our positive response page that has all the code sheets and information, as well as Brian's email address and the email address for member services, just so everyone has that in one spot.
Thank you.
Thank you, Amy. And to Amy's point too, so that if you have not looked at our training material on our website yet, I highly encourage you to do that. There are several webinars that are available to you. There's some specifically for excavators. There's some specifically for members. There's also a Julie Essentials course, again, both for members and for excavators. I really encourage you guys to take a look at all of that material. There's sheets that you can print that have the codes on it. If you're an excavator, send that with your crews. That way they know what they're going to be looking at when they pull it up in the positive response system. If you're a member, but put the detailed one out there so that they know what they need to be doing as well. Tons of information there. If you have any questions about anything that you see there, you can reach out to one of the damage prevention managers. You can reach out to member info. You can reach out to me. There's multiple ways that you can be successful in this program, and that's really what we want. You have any issues, like Brian just said, right now we have a team that's meeting weekly to discuss some of these questions that are coming up, some of the problems. Send it to a damage prevention manager, send it to somebody in member info, send it to me. We will get that, we'll have a conversation about, see if there's something we can do, if something needs to be tweaked. We want to make this program very successful. I'm going to be honest, a lot of the feedback that I've gotten so far has been very, very positive. People are liking it. They're able to view the responses before they send anybody to the field. A lot of times they're finding that people are providing phone numbers that you can actually call and talk to somebody. So there are a lot of positives with this program. So just give it a little bit of time. We're not even through the first quarter yet. So we really want to, see how this rolls out throughout this whole year. So.
And we have massive amounts of information, guys, on our website too about this. And you can always reach out to me. Like I said, I may not recognize your name, but I apologize about that. But just reach out to us. This is what we do all day long. And with that, guys, I got 9:32. So we appreciate this. As always, reach out to us if you need any more questions. We appreciate you being here today. And thank you so much.